Joy News Prime.
Welcome to this African Union Day edition of Joy News Prime. My name is Israel Lyon. Coming up in this bulletin, former Black Stars defender John Pencil in custody for allegedly stealing his wife's car. He has denied the charge, accusing the wife of rather altering title documents to his vehicle without his knowledge. But John Pencil is also accused of assaulting a police officer. We'll be getting the details. 3 children die in fire at Nkwanta in the Volta region. Government charged to stand up and uphold virtues that will provide exemplary leadership in governance for Ghanaians.
And in business, the global head of financial market for Standard Chartered Bank, Jonathan Paul, is predicting a substantial reduction in the rate of inflation here in Ghana.
Also in this 2-hour bulletin will be sports, entertainment, and Joy News Interactive. The bulletin is available across Europe on London-based ABN television. Stay tuned. Now, former Black Stars defender John Pinto is in police custody for allegedly stealing a vehicle belonging to his wife and assaulting a police officer. The former Fulham star is said to have been invited by the East Legon police on Tuesday over a complaint filed by his wife, Richlove Pencil. When we're told he became angry during his interrogation and got physical with the district police commander. He was subsequently locked up and spent the night at the police station. Joining us on the phone now is the Accra Region Public Relations Officer, ASP Ifya Tenge. Good evening to you, ASP.
Hello, good evening.
Now, what are the facts of the case as you have it?
What are the
facts of the case as you have it?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes, as you have indicated in your presentation, we have a complaint from the wife from Pinto of her vehicle that was stolen. And, as part of investigation, there was the need that we extend application to him for him to answer certain questions on him. So eventually, yesterday in the briefing or in the meeting, he became angry over certain questions and also decided to work on the police. And when attempts were made to get him to the meeting back, he assaulted the district commander and also one investigator who was supposed to be handling the case. So with everything that was unfolding, he was detained. That was yesterday evening. And as I speak to you now, we have concluded our investigations. And tomorrow morning, we have to put him before court. One for the stealing that has been brought against him. Then separately, the assault and the offensive conduct being put in by him yesterday.
All right, so is Pencil still in custody as we speak?
Yes.
And what are the charges that the charges likely to be referred against him when you send him to court tomorrow?
Yes, we have stealing, that is number one. Then secondly, there is also the assault and also causing harm.
Now, you tell us about how he attacked this police officer. You're saying that he actually assaulted the police officer. Under what circumstances?
Yes, it was there. It happened. In the course of the briefing, we realized that he wasn't prepared to cooperate with us. So the district commander instructed that we now arrest him and caution him for statements to be taken from him. And that was when he began to raise, first of all, was even insults, then followed by the blow that he used in hitting the left eye of the district commander, where he even had to go to the hospital for treatment. And even with that aspect, the regional commander, ACB Bonga, has directed that since he has now become a party to this case, that is a victim in this case, he should step aside for the investigation to be done by the district crime officer. So we are expecting that, well, for now, our facts, everything are ready. The charges have been preferred against him. And we know that tomorrow morning, God willing, we should be heading towards the court for hearing.
Now, is there the possibility that the case could be withdrawn if the wife makes the request? And I'm looking at the case involving the wife.
Oh, yes, it hasn't come to that yet. And if it comes, then maybe we also need to have a technical test. And for now, there has not been any notification of the sort. And secondly, we should all know that it's not only about the stealing as well. The stealing and further charges now that has been preferred against him by the conduct he exhibited yesterday.
How's the district commander who got assaulted? How's he doing?
Yes, I spoke to him a couple of minutes ago, and he tells me that the eye was bloody and also was swollen. But for now, because of the medication he was given, at least he's getting a little better.
All right, thank you very much. ASP Ifya Tenge is the Accra Region Police Public Relations Officer. Now, John Pinto has meanwhile denied claims that he stole the wife's vehicle when Joy Sports editor Nathaniel Ato visited him in custody earlier on Wednesday. He told him it was a wife who rather changed the title documents to one of his cars without his knowledge, which was the cause of their disagreement. He has been speaking about his encounter with Joy News' Justice Baidu.
Clearly, he's bothered about all of this. He's disturbed, but he makes time once in a while to smile about it and everything. Interestingly, by the time I was done and was leaving the place, one of the inmates in the cell gave him a diary to sign an autograph for him. Wow. It was very, very, weird under the circumstances and everything, and he gladly did before sitting on the floor again. I asked him about the incident and whether or not it was the story about the car that started all of this, and he confirmed that there was a problem between himself and his wife had done a change of name of one of his cars and switched the ownership to herself without his knowledge, and that's what started all of this. And clearly he was very upset about it. As to whether there were problems before that incident happened, or there have been a chain of problems since that time in 2013, when we got to hear about that assault case, I wouldn't be able to tell because, of course, we don't live with them, so it's difficult to tell. This is not the first time, and he was expressing a lot of worry about the fact that there's a lot of, a lot going around in town in the last 24 hours about this particular case. And, a lot of people are saying what they know and what they also do not know about this. You know how problems come up. I mean, when these kinds of stories break, somebody watches a little clip of news and then goes to tell about 10 or 20 friends in a gathering. They also spread it, and that's how it happens. It's like a wildfire effect, and that's what he's very concerned about.
We also know that John Pinto himself, he's had dwindling fortunes with the Black Stars, and he's also had a couple of issues in the past with his club in South Africa. What does this sort of bad press that he would be receiving at the moment mean for the future of his career?
For the Black Stars, he rounded everything up about 3 years ago, if my math is correct. This was because he said that he was playing at Santos, he was playing in South Africa, playing regularly, and he was expecting that he would get a call-up, but this didn't happen, okay? So after that, he said, look, I've done enough, because he's very well capped. When you take away the likes of Richard Kingston, he is one of the highest capped players that we have in his generation. He served the Black Stars diligently as well, and a lot of people celebrate him for that. I remember very well that during that interview on Joy FM, a lot of the text messages that were coming in, a lot of the, were more of celebrating what he had done for the Black Stars. I mean, he's one of the people who never ever turns his back on the national team and played every other game, unless, of course, he probably was not injured, but every other game he was ready to play, and he played and delivered. He's more like rounding up around this time with his playing career. He's concentrating a lot now on coaching. He is working on getting all the possible coaching certificates because that's where he wants to focus the attention now. It's going well. He's done a couple of courses. He's going on to the next stage of courses, which will get him good enough to coach a club. And he's open to all the options, as he told me, that he's ready to coach either here in Ghana or out there in South Africa or anywhere on the continent if the opportunity is available. So for him, immediately the next thing to do after hanging his boots is to to become a coach, and that's what he's working on now.
So Nat, as you got to the police station,
yeah,
what other things struck you?
Clearly, there is a lot to happen, especially if he is arraigned before court tomorrow. We surely have to follow that story and check what exactly will happen in the aftermath, and then based on that, we'll see what happens. Like I said, he stated that he will come out publicly and also give facts from his side of the story. And another thing that is worth noting, which is instructive as well, is that we would not know what will happen to this, because depending on how this goes, depending on how these court proceedings go, then he may or may not speak about this matter. Because if you throw your mind back to 2013 when that case happened, he shied away from the media. He hardly made any comments about that matter, and it was purely, the stories that we got were purely based on our own investigative work and all of that. And I was also told that loads of people, including some of his old Black Stars mates and all, including the Black Stars captain and all, have been to the station to check on him as well.
All right, now this wouldn't be the first time John Pinto has found himself on the wrong side of the law before then, though. We're getting some pictures that we took from the police station within the last hour, and it shows that John Pinto is indeed still at the police station, and it's in the custody of the East Legon police. One of the pictures actually indicates that his vehicle, which was there earlier, is still parked at the police station. That's the vehicle. Is still parked at the police station, and we have also spotted him being moved from one side of the police station to the new building of the East Legon police station complex. All right, so as I indicated, this wouldn't be the first time John Pinto has found himself on the wrong side of the law. In February 2013, police secured a medical report of the wife indicating she was badly assaulted by the defender. She was reported to have scaled the wall into a neighbor's home for protection, but was pursued by Pinto, who then attacked the neighbor as well. But Richlove Pinto denied any assault on her, and 3 weeks ago, when he was asked about the incident, Pinto also denied it and said the issue had been exaggerated.
It is okay, because apparently what happened was, there was so much lie involving, like...
There was so much lies?
Yeah, and then I'm not going to explain it, but what I can say, there wasn't any such thing. But, when you throw a ball to the wall, it will surely come back to you. So we will leave it...
So in that situation, you threw the ball to the wall?
What I'm saying is that whoever throws the ball to the wall, to come back to that person.
Okay.
So I'll just let it stay like that. That's happening, and so far as my home, there's a peace in my home. That's what.
Okay, so your family is here in Ghana, or they are with
they are here. Yeah.
Everything is okay?
Everything is fine, by God's grace.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but we have more stories coming up. Stay tuned. Now, residents of Nkwanta and the Volta region are in a state of shock after 3 children were burned beyond recognition when fire raged their home. The fire, which started Wednesday morning, is suspected to have been fueled by gallons of premix stored in the house. Attempts by the officers of the Ghana National Fire Service and bystanders to rescue the children who were trapped in a room proved futile. According to Robert Avediga, the assemblyman for the area, although the fire service swiftly responded, the attendants were no match for the blaze. The cause of the fire has not been established, but he tells journalists the fuel in the room compounded the situation. The father of the 3 children apparently deals in premixed fuel. The co-tenant said the father of the victims tried to run out of the room with one of the children after an explosion in the room, but failed to rescue any of the children. He is reported to responding to treatment at the Nkwanta District Hospital after he suffered some serious burns. Now joining us on the phone line now is Acting District Fire Officer Urbanus and Chirina. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, my brother.
All right, so can you tell us what you know about the fire and what situation you saw it?
Okay. Let me first of all say my condolences to the British family on behalf of my regional commander, who is very well aware of the situation on the ground. Yes, this morning, at about 7:25 hours, we had a random call. Now there was an outbreak of fire at English-Arabic area. I dispatched my man to the ground and they arrived at the scene at exactly 7:29 in the morning. When they arrived, they discovered that it was a domestic fire. And straight away, my men went to action and we were able to extinguish the fire at 09:30 hours in the morning.
All right. My understanding is that, and this is the report we're getting from the assemblyman for the area, Robert Avediga. He said your men had a challenge. Apparently, you got there in good time, all right, but your fire tenders couldn't quite, or had quite a challenge putting out the blaze.
So, this was a fire that involved some amount of fuel. And the route, for instance, is not all that good. So yes, we had a challenge in maneuvering the tender around, but at the end of the day, we achieved our aim by being able to put out the fire.
Have you been able to establish what must have caused this fire?
For now, investigations are ongoing, and we will not like to jump the gun. As and when our official investigations will make our findings known.
All right, thank you very much. That's the Acting District Fire Officer, Urbanus and Chirina. In other news, government has been charged to stand up and uphold virtues that will provide exemplary leadership in governance for Ghanaians. Delivering the keynote speech at the Edubuahin 10th Anniversary Memorial Lecture in Accra, veteran journalist Cameron Dodu was critical that qualities of integrity and courage exhibited by the late historian and politician Professor Albert Edubuahin are not being emulated. Mr. Dodu pointed to such recent events such as the controversial bus branding saga as not reflecting integrity.
History matters. It is for us to try and inspire the young entrants into the public services to read some of the stuff that are gathering dust in the files of the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Transport, and other places where single source contracts have become the order of the day. How can you order electricity generating equipment at several $1 million on the basis of a single source contract? How can you backdate an invoice for the branding of buses? It's not as if the rules were not there. When we were in the civil service, I was at broadcasting for 3 years. There were general orders. You couldn't claim T&T unless you traveled more than 4 miles from your place of work, and so on and so forth. Meticulously planned to make sure that public money was not filched. All that has gone. We've got to fight to bring it back. And in that fight, you need to isolate and support good journalism. Otherwise, it will all become commercial. Otherwise, it will all become loud and useless. And all these historical and courageous struggles that people have laid before us through history will be completely wasted.
Also speaking at the lecture was law lecturer Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, who was critical of the plural media in Ghana, saying it hasn't impacted on governance as much as it should.
Freedom of speech, open expression of opinion and protest, multiple private and independent media, and freedom of association are things Ghanaians can and do in fact take for granted. government closure or muzzling of independent press houses and newspapers, a fate suffered repeatedly by papers like the Catholic Standard and Mr. Tommy Thompson's Free Press in the days of the culture of silence, is now a thing of the past. And thanks to the legislative initiative of Professor Dubois' political party in abolishing the criminal libel law in 2001, when it was first elected to office, our jails and police cells no longer play host to journalists and publishers whose public words are deemed offensive by a regime. The culture of silence has indeed given way today to what may be called a culture of loudness. Today, opinion is freely and very loudly expressed. In fact, even the contemporary Akan rendering of democracy in our popular media, Kabima min Kabiaban, conflates the idea of democracy with the equal right of citizens to speak and comment freely about affairs of state. This opening of the public square, this liberalization of the public airwaves for vigorous and free expression of diverse opinion is precisely what Professor Dubois demanded. He demanded an end to the culture of silence because he believed that without an end to the culture of silence, development was not possible. Let us hear him in his own words, I quote, "It is my firm belief that no appropriate and effective development of any country can take place, nor can any government be properly kept on its toes or made aware of what is really going on until and unless there is free flow of information of all sorts, free and public discussion of national issues, and free and frank exchange of views at all levels of society. In other words, unless this culture of silence is broken," unquote. One hears in those words early, if partial, soundings of a thesis that Nobel Prize economist Amartya Sen would later develop independently and more comprehensively and articulate very forcefully in his monumentally influential idea of development as freedom. The idea that the expansion of freedom is both the primary end and the primary means of development. In demanding an
A $58 million water project for Konongo in the Asante Achim Central Municipality of the Ashanti region cannot be opened for use. This is because illegal miners have blocked flow of water upstream in a river and 2 tributaries, depriving the dam of water for treatment. The Ghana Water Company has also been compelled to shut down one of its old treatment plants as a result. Ohiming Terry of Inshra FM reports.
The Konongo project is part of a $238 million Kumawu and Kwawu Rich Water project. It is expected to supply at least 3.6 million gallons of water daily. Managing Director Fred Loco called for immediate action to stop the illegal miners.
It is not possible to fill the reservoir, and as we speak, the plant can't even operate. And it's a shame that if the government should spend as much as $58 million on this project, and for there to be no water for the people of Konongo, that would be a big shame. And I don't think that this opportunity for Konongo should be lost. So my appeal is that whatever that needs to be done should be done so that we can overcome this challenge, so that the people of Konongo can benefit from this huge investment that the government has made.
According to him, failure by traditional authorities and stakeholders to stop activities of illegal miners who work for parochial interest could spell doom for beneficiary communities. Meanwhile, the Regional Security Council announced that a monitoring team would be commissioned to track down the miners. A report by Ohimi Teria.
Up next, we bring you business news after the break. All right, John and Marco is here on the AU Day with the business news. Good evening to you, John.
Good evening, Izzy.
All right, you take it away.
Thank you very much. Now time for business. And global head of financial market for Standard Chartered predict substantial reduction in the rate of inflation for Ghana from early next year.
I think there are some short-term, obviously there are the fact that the government raised fuel costs and some other, changed some subsidies, yes. That has obviously caused the inflation rate, there's no question, to go up in the short term. But I think those, as painful as I'm sure those cost increases are for the economy, I think they probably had to be done, again, as you pointed out earlier, to reduce the amount of government debt over time. So once those drop out of the year-on-year comparisons, then you'll start to see the real underlying rate of inflation, which I think should be coming down, I'm guessing, the early part of next year.
So that was the global head of financial markets, Standard Chartered Bank. So the next story will actually be dealing with some ICT. We give you some ICT stories actually to do with the market, and of course how they want to actually basically move ICT to the next level. And an expert in ICT urges government to develop policies to grow untapped potential in ICT. Experts in information communication technology ICT are urging government to develop policies to grow the untapped potential in the industry. ICT has become a very key component of businesses and a driving force for change. Industry experts believe Ghana is capable of growing this sector with homegrown applications and services. The acting Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency in Nigeria, Vincent Olatunji, says with the right policies, Ghana can boost the sector to drive local ICT solutions exports.
The Dells, the Compact, the Sony, the HP of this world, if their government did not put in place deliberate policies for their citizens to patronize them, they won't be where they are today. So we need to put in place policies that will drive the growth of the local ICT industry for us to use these products and services, and for us to be able to grow to a level that we can import to any part of the world. We will give a directive that all government ministries and departments must patronize made in Ghana ICT products and services. Again, you may say those OEM, that is original equipment manufacturers, software developers, must ensure that the standard of whatever they are bringing out must be in line with global best practice. So when your citizens buy these products from them, they are the same benefit, the same service they will derive from the HPs, the Compacts of this world, they can derive from your own locally made products. Also, you can say, for us to be able to present what you have, your support service must be sound. That is, when we buy products from you, we must have a special unit that will support the products you are selling. So when they have issues with your products, we need to buy spare parts, we need to fix our products, they will come and meet you, and you have people in place that will render this service. These are things that we can do that will really drive the place.
And the Ministry of Agriculture said it is taking steps to retrieve lands being encroached by real estate developers for private business activities. The Sector Minister, Alhaji Mohammed Limuna, says encroachers are destroying lands meant for agricultural production, and the ministry will use legal means to claim these lands.
Encroachment on our lands. Yes, since I assumed office, I've realized that that's what is happening to the agri sector. I have asked the Chief Director and my directors to come out with an assets register. You have to identify your assets before you know what to do with them. So I've asked that they should come out with the complete assets of the registers of Ministry of Food and Agriculture properties, so that we sit down as a ministry and find out how do you do. But nevertheless, we've gone around to put no stop work and other things just to stop them temporarily. But I know we have some people who are not listening. But fortunately, the Office of the President is involved, and we are all going around to tell people to temporarily stop what they are doing. If we're able to ascertain the register, then we can take a definite decision as to how we want to manage our assets.
So now do take our shift attention to the commodities market and how they are faring in the international scene. Now, starting, we just also want to give you some perspective on how the Ghana market actually closed, and it's going to open tomorrow just because of the holiday. Ghana actually closed at 51,665 as total volume traded on the Ghana Stock Exchange at a value of 140,963. Market cap actually declined marginally as composite index was 11.16, and then the financial index also dropped marginally to about 13.41. Now, let's look at those equities that really made the market and find out whether they're actually going to continue same. Standard Chartered Bank topped the gainers after it recorded almost about 4 pesos to close at 14.98. ETI, that's Ecobank Transnational Incorporated, lost 1. And of course, EGI, that's Ecobank Ghana, also did lose 20. So those were the losers and the gainers on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Now let's move on to the international market to look at how the major commodities of Ghanaian interests actually faring. Currently, crude oil is actually trading $49.58 per barrel after gaining 97 cents, and that's almost about 2.02%, and gold losing $1.34 to be trading around 1,224.20 per ounce, and of course cocoa losing $29 to be trading around 2,962. That's almost about 98 basis point reduction in that particular price. Let's look at how the currency will be opening tomorrow. I mean, the US dollar against the cedi will be opening at 3 Ghana cedis 82 pesos. British pound will be opening tomorrow 5 Ghana cedis 54. The euro 4 Ghana cedis 28, and of course the Chinese yuan will be opening the market tomorrow at 58 pesos, as the CFA will be opening the market tomorrow at 153 per Ghana cedi. So that'll be it for the holiday edition of the market, and here, Business on Prime. We are back tomorrow with more business. My name is John Kojo Amwako.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, new survey results published by Barometer Wednesday show a lack of faith in the African Union and limited public support for continental integration. The survey released to coincide with African Union Day, which is being marked with holidays across the continent, show that most Africans would rather prefer to hold on to their national sovereignties instead of yielding to the AU. Although it shows limited public support for integration, it also sees wide variations by country and region. On average, across 36 countries, a majority of Africans favor free cross-border movement of people and goods. But this is not the view of majority in 15 of those countries. The Center for Democratic Development periodically releases results of the Barometer survey. Meanwhile, a Ghanaian University professor in the U.S., Joseph John Osankwapong, says the Barometer is not making the needed impact due to the low interest shown by Ghanaians anytime it is released.
This thing is going to work. It's not going to be only the efforts of our elected officials, MPs, the president. It's not going to be appointed political officials, right? We all have a role in ensuring that this dispensation would hold for as long as we want it to hold. If you are going to engage as a citizen in the public space, then you must be interested in what goes on in the public domain, right? If I want a public solution to a public problem like health, then I have to be interested in what is going on in that public domain. Over the rounds of the survey, when you ask, are you interested in public affairs? This is the sentiment that comes up. Very interested, somewhat interested, not very interested, not interested at all. Now, if you look at the highest qualitative category, 37%, you need a more vibrant public space in terms of civic engagement if you would constantly bring to the attention of elected officials the public problems that you think must be addressed. And therefore, you need a lot more people interested in public affairs.
It was constructed over a century ago to detain a maximum of 12 suspects. Today, sometimes holds over 50 people. The suspects sleep with unwashed, worn-out blankets in a small room reeking of human excrement. That's the story of the Wa police cells located in the heart of the municipality. The appalling situation has drawn the attention of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, which is demanding a change. Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam visited the cells and reports.
The first thing that greets you at the entrance of the Wa police station is a pungent smell from its cells. The cells were constructed over 100 years ago by the colonial administration to detain suspects of minor crimes like assault and theft cases. However, the situation is different today, as it is now for hardened criminals. The cells accommodate suspects from the Regional Police Command, the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit, and other police districts in the region. The cells have been largely neglected. Paint on the walls have been replaced with mobile numbers of lawyers, pastors, and malams. Inside the cell are 2 cubicles and a long hall built for 12 people. However, congestion is a norm here. Over 50 suspects are sometimes locked up here for several weeks to wait for their court dates. Chief Inspector Daniel Adewalo is aware of the dehumanizing condition, but is quick to add that the police was working to improve the state of the cells.
I should say it's not the best, but that is what we are now operating. So I should say that is our best, because we don't have anyone. This is a long cell built by the colonial masters, and it's still the one we are using now. No expansion, only sometimes we make small renovations. So it's the same like the olden one. So we don't have any new cells.
Inmates lie on the bare floor using a worn-out blanket that has also not been washed for months. The ceiling has been taken over by cobwebs. They share a bathroom which has a shower and 2 toilets. However, due to frequent water shortage, the water closets are in a very unhygienic state.
We are using that now, so we usually change the water closets after every treatment because of the population in the cell. So after every 3 months, we have to change the water closets. We're short of water sometimes, so we have to buy water and fill our polytank for them, for the unit to use. So we don't get running water every time. So that makes sometimes, if you come to the charge office, you get some scent. If actually there's no water. So we usually, when there's no water, we have to fall on other people to buy some water.
The Upper West Regional Director of the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, Siddiq Ubedu, was not happy about the situation at the police cells.
I am not happy in the sense that you have one small cell serving almost the entire municipality. So congestion is one very important challenge that is confronting the police station. And then secondly, even though it is lights up, you can see that the ventilation there is very poor. It's perpetually dark. And the stench that greets you on arrival is another problem, which the officer well explained. But that notwithstanding, we think that something can still be done to arrest the situation. They are human beings. The fact that you are being detained here as a suspect should not reduce you to a subhuman being. You are entitled to live in a very clean, congenial atmosphere. And anybody can come here. So I think that we have to do all that we have to do to ensure that at least the cell is clean. And even as a long-term solution, there should be some expansion work so that some of these inmates can be redeployed to other cells to allow for space and then ventilation.
Every year, the Commission monitors detention centers to ensure that the fundamental human rights of suspects are not abused. Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
Now back to our AU stories. Somalian President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud is asking the United Nations and African Union not to relent in the efforts to restore peace to Somalia. Somalia has been at war for the past 25 years, and a conflict that has claimed many lives. The country has also had its fair share of militant attacks, with the dreaded Al-Shabaab still being a major threat. The UN and the AU have since 2007 been helping keep the peace, and President Hassan doesn't want this assistance to stop. He was speaking at the commemoration of the African Union Day in the capital Mogadishu, from where my colleague Derek Eko Sam joins us via Skype. Good evening to you, Derek.
Good evening, Israel.
All right, so
Fine.
Yeah, I can imagine the Somalian president, Somalians are eternally grateful for the AU and UN, for the support they're getting from the AU and the UN. But I'm sure the president is also aware that this assistance can't continue forever.
Well, Israel, just as you rightly said, the Somalians are very grateful to both the UN and the AU for their support since the war broke out in 1991. Since 1991, the forces have been of help to them, and since 2007, they have stationed officers here, both military and police officers here, to help keep the peace. But the president admits that this cannot go on forever, and so from next year, they are trying to set up their own forces. They have the Somalian National Army that is helping to keep the peace as well. They have trained a couple of people, and just as it was done on Monday, they inaugurated about 200 policemen and women to start a process that will see indigents taking over, because he knows that, of course, the UN and AU forces cannot be here eternally.
Now, how confident is he that these processes he has initiated will be enough to wean his country off this military dependency?
Well, today he spoke with a lot of confidence. He was very happy. He was beaming with smiles, especially seeing the cultural display that was put up by the police forces. He says that he hopes that his men and women who have come up to take up the place of the AU and UN forces will not go off. He also admits that it will take a long period of time to have the peace they deserve, but he hopes that things would get better. He is also obvious of the clan system. If you come here, there's this formula called the 4.5 system. They have 4 major clans, and they have some other clans as well. And so if they want to take any decision, they'll have to consider the 4 clans before they come up to the other clans. And so he believes that it's a daunting task, but he's confident that his people will take over sooner or later.
All right, so we're just seeing on TV the footage of some women dancing. Are you saying these women are actually police women?
Yes, these are police women. These are military women. Today, at the celebration of the AU Day in the capital Mogadishu, as the Somalians call it, we had cultural displays from Burundi, from Uganda, from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, but the Ghanaian contingent does not have a lot more women, and so they were not on display. But what you are seeing on your screens, what you see are displays from military women, from police women who are here to help keep the peace. And I must admit that I was surprised when I was told that these are service personnel. These are people who are used to holding the guns, and they can still do their cultural dances that they are used to. So these are police and military women.
All right, thank you very much, Derek Akosam, joining us from Mogadishu in Somalia. He apparently seems to be having quite a lot of fun on AU Day. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll bring you international news. Stay tuned. Watching Joy News Prime Time now for a recap of our top stories. Former Black Stars defender John Pinto, in custody for allegedly stealing his wife's car, has denied the charge, accusing the wife of rather altering title documents to his vehicle without his knowledge. But John Pinto is also accused of assaulting a police officer, and he will be arraigned tomorrow. 3 children died in a fire at Nkwanta in the Volta region. Government has been charged to stand up and uphold virtues that will provide exemplary leadership and governance for Ghanaians. In business, the global head of financial markets for Standard Chartered Bank, Jonathan Paul, is predicting a substantial reduction in the rate of inflation for Ghana from early next year. On to the rest of our stories. And scores of residents at Adenta here in Accra have been protesting against the deplorable roads in the area. They claim the roads connecting Adenta to Katamanso have been abandoned by the contractor for over 3 years. Chairman of the Adenta Ashie Residents Association, Mark Amlo, says they want government to compel the contractor to return to site. Some of them spoke to Joy News.
About 2.5 years ago, we realized that a contractor came on site to construct the road from Ashie to Katamanso. Actually, the road on which we are standing now leads to Tema. Now, The contractor came, did some work on the, how do we call it, on the road. They do the filling, then brought in chippings to fill, to do the, how do we call it, the tarring. Actually, the road was blocked for the work to be done. Then, all of a sudden, we realized that they have moved out, and the following morning, they did the bypass. Since then, we have not seen the contractor on site. The chippings are there for you to see. There are some culverts that has been done to block the distance. Now, about a year ago, the contractor came on site and started collecting the chippings that is meant for the tarring of our road. When we question them, they say, oh, their machine got spoiled, they are moving it and they'll come back. And that by February, they'll come and do the work. We've been trying every now and then to get the contractor on site, and it has also become a mystery because we are unable to get the right contractor, the person who is doing the work, because the people at Urban Roads are not willing to give us the name. And also, if you realize when we were coming in, there's no signage about which contractor is constructing the road. So 2 weeks ago, the Minister of Roads and Railways, Honorable Alhaji Inusa Fuseni, was on Joy FM. So we called in to find out what is happening to our road. And he said, no, he's surprised that this road has not been done because it's supposed to be completed last December. This road is supposed to be completed last December. So now, our matter is this. We want the contractor to come back on site. We cannot pay taxes, money is given to him to work, and he will vacate site.
This situation is really devastating. We are residents of East Ashiye, and as you can see, all written on our billboards, our message is very simple. We need our road and we need water. We've been relegated to the background as an association for a very long time. We are Ghanaians. And whatever that the government is doing for other communities, we equally deserve some. But we realize that for this road, for a very long time, the road has not been tarred. And worst of it all, when it rains, there are a lot of potholes. Cars find it difficult to move on the road.
Mostly when there is no rain, the dust will be worrying us because of the road is not yet completed. We have already informed the elders they have started making something about it. Then before we realize again, the stones they bring for us to use, and they are selling the stones again. So we want the government or the elders to know about this thing. So they should try to help us on this road.
Convention People's Party flag bearer Ivor Greenstreet says his reporting to the People's Tour of the nation reveals Ghanaians are yet to be liberated from poverty and harsh living conditions. According to him, Ghanaians are living under an illusion that their country has been liberated, even though it hasn't. Ivor Kobna Greenstreet contends many of the citizenry are bonded by the shackles of abject poverty and deprivation, a situation similar to when the country was under colonialism.
According to the CPP flag bearer, a recent tour of the countryside revealed the vision of Kwame Nkrumah and others to provide a comfortable life for Ghanaians, and for that matter Africans, is yet to be realized. It will take selfless leadership to attain the goals. The CPP flag bearer was speaking at a ceremony to mark African Union Day by the Socialist Forum.
And I was wondering how well, particularly Ghana as a nation, we have succeeded in liberating our own nation state from oppression. We have recently returned from a tour of all the constituencies in the 3 northern regions of Ghana, Upper West, Upper East, and Northern. And I know there's currently a process of an accounting to the people tour that the government are engaged in. So if I were to say on this our trip, we call it a reporting to the people tour, I would like to report that a lot of our people are still not liberated. On so many occasions, you see women walking for miles carrying water on their heads. On so many occasions, you see young men languishing in towns and villages with nothing to do because of no employment and no opportunity. So clearly, our own liberation as a nation state has a long, long way to go.
The Socialist Forum organized the event to highlight the challenges facing the African continent and its quest to unionize in order to have a larger role in world affairs. Convener Kwesi Pratt questioned why the continent claims to be liberated yet relies on foreign donors for most projects, including elections. He described as laughable the notion that Ghanaians have the opportunity to select their leader during elections.
Today, we are told that every 4 years we can go and put papers in some box, and that when those papers are counted, we will get our leaders. That has been what we have been doing since 1992. And indeed, we are under the illusion that we have the power to change governments. Have we asked ourselves why since 1992 there has been no policy change in this country? The truth is that the sovereignty we fought for is still not at hand. And the pretension that we are electing our leaders must be over. And the leadership of Ghana has not changed since 1992, because whoever you elect ends up in the boardroom of the IMF and the World Bank, who make the real decisions. So the real government has been the IMF and the World Bank. And what we elect here is the new face of the IMF and the World Bank.
Prempeh College won the Toyota Innovation Award at the just-ended Robofist World Championship in the senior game category. They beat schools from the US, China, Canada and India after developing a robot that could flawlessly play golf. We caught up with them to share their success story.
These are robotic world champions. 6 Prempeh College students competed against other senior high schools from the US, Canada, China and India. They were given a challenge to build a robot that will pat 4 balls set from different locations. Prempeh College's robot Ajingo Golf won the ultimate prize, the Toyota Innovation Award at the Robotics World Championship.
The competition was about creating or building a robot that's going to pat 4 balls set on different locations on a mat. And so you have to study the mat, know the vantage point that the golf balls can be placed, and then you design a very great robot so that it can pat the balls from every direction. And then this was the idea that through teamwork we developed, and then it's very perfect in playing all the golf balls.
The Ajingo Golf was adjudged to be the most efficient robot.
Ours is extraordinary because we put a robot at one place, it just has to turn this one, turn to any angle, and then we just stretch our pattern, and then we just hit the ball. But for other teams, the robot itself had to move, as in the ties had to move in order to go and look for the balls and hit them. But our robot is just at one place. The moment it senses the ball, it just spins its revolver, and then it just spatters the ball into the goal.
The team says it wasn't difficult getting the pass, but each section has a specific use.
We have 3 sensors, 3 color sensors, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one here. Okay. These ones are used for finding the path, this one for finding the ball, and this one to check the edges of the board. And the reason why we have to push the motors, that's these ones, back so that this will have independent space to revolve around. Okay. It can't have the motor in its way then revolving. That means it will clash with this. Okay. So this one's have to come back, this one for it, so that the locomotion and sensing of the balls will be very easy. And you can see this is the revolver. This is the actual ingenuity of the robot. Okay. As he said earlier, you just can't let the robot be at one place and you expect it to be patting the balls. Okay. It has to maneuver its way through. And look at the ball. And with the green patches, there are some places where a golf ball can be placed, and not every robot can pat it. But with this robot, you can see the revolver is wide enough, the pattern is centered, you have the springs that hold it, the motor that actually strings it and does the pattern. With this, when a ball is placed at any point, the ball just go there, find it easy, and the pattern just strings in.
The team is now preparing for the World Robot Olympiad competition in New Delhi in India later this year.
Well, we say congratulations to the Prempeh College boys. Up next, we bring you entertainment. All right, time for entertainment, AU Holiday Entertainment. And Miss G is here. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Israel. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Great to have you on holiday.
Yeah. Holiday entertainment, but it's all gossip, you know. Today we're going to be gossiping a lot, you know. We haven't done that in a while, have we?
We haven't.
We haven't. Okay, so
let it flow.
Okay, so before we get into the gossip, let's talk about, can you imagine being blind and catwalking?
Not sure.
Not sure.
How does that work?
I wonder, but the Akropos School of the Blind came to life when the youngsters in the school decided to catwalk. It was a fashion show for them.
Fresh boys, fresh girls. Fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I? I'm Shafe, I'm Kwajalami. I saw what so the young Shimbo, the Jimmy, Magunko, the Lions Den, Santa Boom, don't try me Tribo, Harof, where you feel in some mampo. Yes, the Dibo money in the back, the cash, I got them before, no property, depend near intimate sympathy, Manum Pisha, Pasho, Nanatachi, Alomo, Casapaco, and the dry daddy, Jawo Chrome, Bisakubabu, and Netaju, the Tudo, Untimate, Yamugu, the Discapudo, San Dabi to Sue, for the wedding blessing now, I let you. Rasta fuwo group, Rasta fuwo group, Parrot fuwo group, Parrot fuwo group. Fresh boys, fresh girls, fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I? I'm Shafe, I'm Kwajalami. Rasta fuwo group, Rasta fuwo group, Parrot fuwo group, Parrot fuwo group. Fresh boys, fresh girls, fresh boys, fresh girls. Where am I? I'm Shafe, I'm Kwajalami. Them times if I'm in the monte, Friday night, a boy and natch it, forget to wash it. And if I
All right, and that was lovely.
It was lovely, and you know, the
That
young man song, performing Kenata's song, sums it all up, that, you know, Obinyawaye, even in that situation, somebody wished that they were like them, you know, but it was great to see them.
Yeah, it was. I mean, so we've had one first, there was some fashion show by the
Glitz. Okay, yeah.
And then the School for the Blind also organizes this one. It's impressive.
But yes, it's incredible. You know,
it is incredible. I mean, it was there, and I can imagine they would have done so many, so much rehearsal so that they would make sure they would stay on the catwalk, because they could have fallen off.
Very true, very true, very true. Okay,
that's impressive.
So you know that Ejako, who is an actor, had his marriage. You know, the media decided to talk about his marriage because a lot of things happened. I think years ago, he was on a multimedia platform talking about his marriage. His wife came on the platform. His ex-wife actually came on the platform to talk about the difficulties and the challenges they've been having in the marriage. And he called off the marriage. You know, we had a lot of things. But all that is dying up because Ejako is getting married again. And this time around, he has an artwork to show.
Let's see that.
Yeah.
Right, so apparently, he's getting married to Rita.
Yes. So they say Edu and Rita. And they're having it far away from everybody else in Ghana. You know,
why are they
all
doing
the way in the UK? They're getting married.
Oh, they're doing this in the UK.
Yes, they are. Yeah, getting married in the UK next weekend actually. And so everybody else who wants to be there to cause chaos, you can stay in your homes because they're going to be in the UK, except if you want to fly there and go cause.
Okay, but in this case, we should get our ABN partners.
Yes,
to go cover it for us and bring us some footage.
Very true, very true. So
wow, well, congratulations to
congratulations to Ejako. At least now
we hope this one works.
Hey, we pray so, you know, Eja. We pray. Anyway, okay, so you know, after Tiwa's incident, you know, a lot of people have been worried about what's up with her, whether she's doing fine after T-Bills, you know, decided to leave home, and after she decided to divorce him. But it looks like there's good news for her because we've had rumors that she's being signed on to Jay-Z's record label.
Jay-Z?
Yes, Rock Nation. That's what we're hearing. How true, we don't know. We see her jetting off with her son, you know, out of Nigeria. Where they're going to, we are not too sure. But people say they're going to Dubai because when the issue between she and T-Bills happened, we heard that she said she had called T-Bills to find out if Jamil, who is their baby's passport, was ready because she wanted to travel with Jamil somewhere. We ain't too sure about that story. So now finally she gets to travel with Jamil in a private jet to, people say, Dubai. But the biggest news for us is that she's being signed on to Jay-Z's record label, Rock Nation.
Well, if indeed it's confirmed, then it will be a really big break for her.
Yes, because she's supposed to perform in September with Rihanna, who is a headline artist for one of Jay-Z's show. And so I'm sure by September, if we don't get to know before then, by September we'll be fully aware of what the deal between Rock Nation and Tiwa is. But it's a great deal. It's a great deal. It's a great deal. Actually, it is a great deal because, you know, she is a backing. She used to be a backing vocalist for lots of the big stars in America. Especially, I remember
Why didn't you know that?
Oh, it's true. When Kelly Rowland went to Nigeria, she looked for her because she used to back Kelly. So I'm not too surprised that she's being signed on to Rock Nation if that is true.
Kudos.
So now P Square, you know, we've not had a lot from them because after they said that they had decided. Yeah, to go their separate ways. Yes, we've seen them perform on stages. But now they say, okay, they are at liberty to decide to choose artists and sign on artists to their labels because they both have different labels and they only come together to perform as P Square. Now, we've seen Peter sign on some artists. Now, the first artist for Paul is in, and he happens to be their drummer, their dancer's husband, who is their drummer, is now being signed on to his record label. He's the first artist to be signed on to Paul's record label. So I just hope that, you know, they don't do, we are signing this, and they don't focus on their music, you know, because very soon we might not see them do music together again because they'll not be signing on.
Yeah, because unfortunately, you know, when these groups break up, they really don't tend to, because we have local examples.
Very, very, very.
They are not as successful as, you know, when they're together.
Yeah.
So probably if they feel that they can't come up with something great,
and it's amazing, you know, because these are brothers. And the recent rumor we had was, you know, Jimmy Jat was in Ghana for the DJ Awards. He's a renowned DJ. He actually was part of the success. Says what baffles him is the breakup between Peter and Paul. Even though he knew they had issues in their camp, he never thought that a day would come where any of them will come publicly and, you know, say things like that, you know. But it's quite unfortunate, but I hope that they just get to sign on people and then still come together and perform. But before I go, let me give you a gist of what's happening in the camp of Musica. Now, you know that I told you that Shatta Wale had released a song which they prefer to call WMT because the words cannot be said on radio.
Explicit.
We've had Weiser also releasing certain songs that we cannot play on radio, neither can we even talk about on television. Now, Musica now says that, look, it's about time musicians get serious, you know, with the kind of profane lyrics that they put out there. They will not be able to say that we are stopping you from putting out lyrics or making songs because of the liberties they will have to give you because they need you to be creative, but you need to be cautious. And also they're urging the media also to be cautious of what we put out there and calling on the NMC, you know, to do something.
Okay, but they haven't played it. They haven't played it on. We haven't played it on radio.
No, we haven't played on radio. It doesn't mean that other radio stations are not playing. It doesn't mean that. Yes, it doesn't mean that.
Are you suggesting that some other radio stations have played those?
Because these days, you know, the way these musicians release music is through social media.
Okay,
because Shatta Wale's song was released via social media. Radio is not playing, TV is not playing.
Yeah.
But social media has it on.
Well, yeah, that's social media.
Exactly.
Social media has a life of its own.
So that's how come they are calling on the NMC. And the NMC says that social media...
It'll be difficult to control social media.
It's a difficult one for them now, because even with television stations and radio stations, they are still having, you know, a tussle to be able to control them, not talk of social media. So it looks like we're going to have this going on for a while.
Because what I actually hear is that, you know, apart from releasing it on social media, they also give it to the underground, what they call the underground DJs.
Okay, the party DJs.
The street DJs.
Yeah.
So those street DJs can play those tracks anywhere. I mean, really, and I'm told that people are really getting excited by.
Yeah, and you amaze you the number of people who have these songs and are listening to this song. And unfortunately, one thing that happened at the Ghana Meets Niger, on the Ghana Meets Niger platform, was Shatta Wale performed a song that I thought wasn't too appropriate for the audience that were gathered there. It could be something that we could say, event organizers should say, once you're mounting my platform, don't perform this kind of song because it is not appealing to the ear. The words are not sound enough. But so it's a step in the right direction that Music Guy is calling on them to actually desist from playing these songs and even making them. So Israel, there's not much to be said today. Tomorrow I'll be back with more entertainment.
Okay, but thank you very much for coming through. And well, you're staying for Joining Us Interactive.
Yes, I am. I am.
So Miss G,
I'll be standing once more.
Miss G will be here with Joining Us Interactive. Right up, we have Gary Smith with the sports.
Entertainment news was brought to you by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Right, time for sports, and Gary has joined me. Good evening to you, Gary.
Hello, Israel.
Right, one of the biggest stories that's making headlines, of course, is John Pinto's arrests and over these issues that have come up. Interestingly, in this case, it's not a case of assault, but it just tells us that there's been this problem from 2013 with the alleged assault of the wife and all that, and then this also comes up. Certainly. It's a troubled home.
Well,
it appears
to be. It's a very messy situation. I mean, when the news came out, you know, some of the media houses did not even want to touch it because it was like, I mean,
we've
really,
had this, if you know,
and you wanted to be sure and careful because the last time there was so much noise made about it, and again it just vanished.
Yeah, because the wife said she wasn't assaulted.
Yeah, sure.
Pencil also recently, 3 weeks ago, in an interview with Nathaniel, also said that. Yeah, it
was no problem. So the latest one is apparently that he took his wife's car without permission. They are calling it theft, but we are saying that, you know, he took his wife's car without permission. And then when she reported to the police, I mean, the report is that he actually slapped the policeman. I mean, but we are hearing that there may be some bail.
Yeah, we're
tonight.
Working on that.
Yeah, we are working on that, but we want to
once we
confirm
get
that
it,
as well.
we'll confirm it and let our viewers know.
Right.
But you take it away.
Okay, thank you, Israel, for the time, and thank you for joining me on the spot on Prime. Hi, I'm Gary Al Smith, and that story is not fully official and confirmed, so we'll leave that for now. But what is confirmed is that today, Hearts were given a big boost in terms of what they can do to go forward in the Ghana Premier League. The two teams that are chasing them in the league all lost. Let's check the results. This is it. Kotoko, who are chasing Hearts of Oak and were third before today, lost to our All-Stars in Wa. Inter Allies won 3-1 against Chelsea, but I'm concerned about the other team, Adriana Stars, who were also on a 5-game unbeaten run. In fact, they had won 5 straight games. They were surprisingly beaten by Dwarfs, who are bottom of the league. Football, And it means that Hearts of Oak are top of the league and have a game in hand tomorrow. If they do, they can stretch their lead by up to 3 and 4 points respectively, where the first and second are concerned. Midiama, a sensational comeback. They were 2-0 down and won 3-2. And this was in Takwa. They are building a reputation for themselves. Teshiman City were unable to win at home, 1-1 against Ashgold. Bechem United also drew 1-1 with Azaki as a result, which will be good for the Western region side. And so these are the results from today. We had 4, 5, 8, 10, 12, 14, 17 goals today. My math isn't bad at all. In the Vodafone Unity match, which is slated to come off on the 8th and the 11th of next month, one in Accra, one in Kumasi. One will be featuring the Black Stars with a World 11, and the other will be the Black Stars playing against Asante Kotoko. The people of Primeval, the organizers, went to see the National Peace Council. Here is Larry Opariotu, the CEO of Primeval Limited.
Stephen Appiah has taken upon himself to use football to unite the people of Ghana before, during and after the elections. And so together with Primeval and of course our headline sponsor and other sponsors, that's Vodafone, we came up with the Vodafone Unity Match that is coming up, God willing, next month. We had So Campbell, former Arsenal defender and former England defender, together with George Boateng joining Stephen Appiah to launch the Vodafone Unity Match. So God willing, next month, these two games will be coming on. 8th of June, that's at the Kumasi Sports Stadium against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Then we have on 11th at the Accra Sports Stadium against the senior national team, the Black Stars. But these galaxy of stars that Stephen has invited, they will be arriving on the 6th and some will be arriving on the 7th. So, Your Eminence, we are here to officially inform you of your own grandson, Stephen Appiah, who has been unveiled as the peace ambassador, to use football to preach the word peace, to preach the word unity to the people of Ghana. Thank you.
So that's Larry Opariotu of Primeval there. Those games will be on the 8th and the 11th, but between those dates, on the 10th, the Euros will begin, and we've been speaking about it for the past 3 weeks or so. And ahead of the games, French authorities have introduced alcohol bans that will be put in place at the tournament to make sure that fans are of good behavior.